we tend to talk a lot about security best practices, or what's happening in the world. As an MSSP, you guys see a community of crap happening. I mean, across hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of different devices. So I would dig into this again, because I kind of asked this question one way before, but I'm going to ask it a little bit differently this time. It's really fascinating to me to see, when a company like VirtualArmour gets to see what's happening across hundreds of different locations, thousands of different devices. You're analyzing data across all sorts of geographic areas, and taking that model and applying it to a normal enterprise. Let's say it's a couple thousand person company, right?
Yep.
What type of advice would you give them as far as when they're building this, right? And I'm going into the building phase because it's not, I'm not really concerned about how you use it. I'm a gadget guy. I like to touch and feel things. I want to get the new thing right away, right?
Sure.
What am I building in this stack? Not how am I using it? I know Cam is saying it's all how you use it, and I get that, but I kind of want to know, if you guys are driving a Ferrari, I want to know exactly what Ferrari you're driving.
That's fair. Understood. We, being a security company, we focus on the basics. We go for SIM software to do centralized management. There's endpoint software. There's not an IT person who's not familiar with antivirus software. We're doing vulnerability management. You have to be able to know, are you susceptible to that virus that's leaking around? I mean, your competitors can tell you are, but do you know if you are? I would say on top of that, you need to make sure your networking side is correctly configured. Do you have, proper separations and identity and access management and VLAN separation? If an administrator's account is taken over, is that going to cripple your network? If this hacker decides to go in and start turning stuff off, it's not going to cripple your network if you have applied these sort of policies and technologies in a way that you can both see the how the user is interacting with the technology, as well as what the user is actually doing themselves and how they're thinking, what they're doing.
So do you want to call out what that stack is from different types of software that you guys are using, different types of hardware that you're using in the stack?
I tend to try to be as general as possible. From the SIM standpoint, I would say larger enterprises that like a more fine-tuned device might want to go with a QRadar or Splunk, where if you've got a smaller shop and you want to maybe know more about, just making sure you have something and you can at least get a basics, you maybe want to look towards your Alien Vaults and your smaller side SIMs like that. Vulnerability management, you obviously have Rapid7 and Nessus that sort of lead the pack there. That's one of those. I've even seen a couple organizations running OpenVAS, which is like a freeware vulnerability scanner, which, by the way, leaps and bounds difference between Rapid7 and them. So we do not use that. Yeah, and then, we are also Juniper sellers as well for the network side, and every model that we've set up there has been great.
Juniper's been making some interesting waves. They made a big splash earlier in the whole pandemic with their proximity and contact tracing stuff, eh? I don't know. I've really been paying attention to it because obviously what else do you do when your 8x8 room is now your whole life, right?
Right.
Cool. All right. So you want to wrap up maybe with, like, if you're watching this and you're sitting there going, ah, crap, I might have to get my ducks in a row. What are 3 ducks that you should put in a row?
Yeah, let's just beat this horse dead. You need to do MFA, you need to do monitoring, and you need to understand that you are now the target. You need to understand, we as IT people need to understand that security through obscurity doesn't exist anymore. if you can get those down, if you can get your users thinking, at least having a split second thought of that in their head, that could be just a critical little instance you need to sort of present yourself or your company from
Garrett,
getting into a lot of trouble.
My entire job, my career, my profession is trying to get people to take that half-second thought, man. It's really hard.
Right? So if I find out, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Very good.